Welcome to the IonaHoops.com podcast with your host, Guy Flatico.
Yo, Season 4, Episode 27 of the IonaHoops.com podcast is upon you. It's recruiting season around here on the pod. We've got a whole lot of offers to cover in the offer roundup. How about that? We've also got some good IOTAs for you, and we have another guest to talk about one of the new gals as well. And we talk about some other things as well in there. So it's going to be a good episode for you guys to enjoy here, hopefully. And we will get right into it right now with some Iona IOTAs.
Iona IOTAs.
You've heard me talk about the Gales Nation collective golf outing on Monday, the 29th. You can go to galesnation.com/golf to register and to find out more information about it. You could, if you're not a golfer, you can still go to this thing. I'm not a golfer. You don't want to see me play golf. I'll be going to the reception. Tobin will be there. The staff will be there. Players will be there. It's going to be a fun event. So you're going to want to come to that. But even before that, you get a little taste of what's going on with the Gales Nation Collective. Tuesday, July 16th, 7 p.m., the collective will be hosting a Zoom call moderated by yours truly with Tobin Anderson and with a collective headman, Jim Oates. We will be taking questions about what NIL is, where the money actually goes, all the fun stuff you guys want to know that you guys have been asking questions about NIL and why should you be giving money and all of that. And, you know, the importance of it. We're going to be talking all about that in that Zoom call. Bring your questions. It is a free event. It is meant to be informative for everyone who has questions. Details will be out very, very soon on the Gales Nation website, but you'll see me probably share it on the board and on Twitter once it's out there as well. But just put it on your calendars right now. That's Tuesday, July 16th, 7 p.m.
Iona IOTAs.
We got another nugget from our non-conference schedule. The Iona Gales will be hosting Cornell on November 25th. That's the Monday before Thanksgiving. So very slowly starting to trickle out the schedule. I understand from the one and only Brian Byer that we are very, very close to releasing our schedule. Still some little waiting for some ink dry here and there. But only a couple of dates are really still known officially. We just learned the Cornell date. You also heard in a recent podcast episode and on social media everywhere that the Gales will be at West Virginia on November 20th. So 5 days before that Cornell game. And just a few days after that Cornell game, that's when the Gales will be traveling to the Bahamas for that 3-game set down there. All of the opponents and all that still waiting to be formally announced, but the Gales will be playing 3 games from the 29th, November 29th to the 1st. That's a Friday to a Sunday. Book your travel. I already have, and I'm ready to party. Anyway, so that's what we know of the schedule. Stay tuned. It could drop at any time. We all know that. So, but those are the dates we know anyway. And we know a couple of the other opponents. So keep your eyes peeled. I think we might be seeing that schedule pop fairly soon.
Iona IOTAs.
It is official. Merrimack and Sacred Heart are now in the MAC Conference. What does that mean for the MAC tournament and for future tournaments and for their schedule? Well, you don't know yet. We're going to have to wait to find out all that stuff. I know that our friend Jaden Daly is planning to have the MAC commissioner on for a podcast, maybe get a few answers there. But I assume that we'll get all that information out as the schedule gets nearer for the league. It's obviously that usually comes out around early September. So I imagine we'll get information even before that about format of MAC tournament and even the format of how the regular season will go. So we will see, but yes, we have 2 new members in our league and we didn't lose anybody, up to 13 schools. So let the chaos ensue. Anyway, welcome to Merrimack and Sacred Heart, to maybe something they wouldn't have expected. Hashtag Mac After Dark. All right, enough of all that chaos and enough of Mac After Dark. Our staff has been hitting the courts this summer. I guess it's not just summer now, but spring and summer. We have a whole stack of 2025 offers to cover in the offer roundup.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
It's been one heck of a recruiting session thus far. We've got a stack of names to go through. I will try to give you what I can and not go too fast, but we'll start with our primary recruiting target, as far as I can tell. And his name is Halen Rollins. He recently visited Iona and Seton Hall, with Providence and Oklahoma lurking. He's a 6'6" wing. Again, all these guys I'm going to be talking about a class of 2025. He's out of Nazareth, just the star of that Brooklyn-based school. Showing an improved jumper, consistent defense. He can get to the basket. He's just a quality player, strong defender, block shots, uses his strength to his advantage. According to Zag's blog, Rollins said that Tobin told him he's their top priority. He does have other offers, of course, from Seton Hall, Oklahoma State, Fordham, Temple, High Point, and others. He's a 3-star recruit on ESPN, but we'll keep an eye out for him. Again, he is what I can tell, our primary recruiting target at this time. Doesn't mean the other guys are not important too, but we've got a whole bunch more to cover. We'll start with Robert Fields. He's a 6'8" small forward / power forward out of McDonough in Baltimore and Team Thrill AAU. He's a true interior threat, but he can also stretch the floor a bit. Has the ability to play the 3, even though he's 6'8". Tough on defense, can control the boards and pass well. Averaged a double-double this past season. He's got offers from BU, Binghamton, Loyola of Maryland, William & Mary, UMBC, American Towson, Navy, Radford, Fairfield, Siena, and Dartmouth. How about Dahi Quinn, 6'4" shooting guard of Tabor High School in Massachusetts and Middlesex Magic, AAU. Ranked as a number 2 prospect in the 2025 class in Massachusetts, according to NERR. Max Preps has him as number 1 recruit in his class in Massachusetts. Tough shooting guard who can hit the 3 as well as score in traffic going to the basket. Also strong on defense. 3 stars on recruit on 247. Offers from South Florida, Northeastern, Albany, Chattanooga, Holy Cross, Siena, Bryant, UMass, Binghamton, UMBC, NJIT, William & Mary, and Fordham. How about Gavin Hightower, 6'1" point guard out of the Windward School in LA and Vegas Elite AAU. He's a top 150 recruit. Was invited to the Pangos All-American Camp where he stood out against some of the best players in the U.S. He's averaged, this is going to be interesting. He averaged 15 points and 7 assists last season. The year before that, he averaged 21 a game. Why the change? He purposely made a sacrifice to be more effective as a point guard and help the team succeed. Sounds like a great kid. 4-star recruit on ESPN, 3-star on 247. Offers from Cal, High Point, Loyola Marymount, New Mexico, UCSB, Sacramento State, Washington State, and UT Arlington. Jaquan Womack, 6'7" power forward out of Paul VI Catholic in Virginia, and Team Takeover. Athletic, tough big, beat you at many levels. Also a pretty good tight end and defensive end on their football team. Described as a walking double-double by one scout. 3 stars on both 247 and ESPN. Offers from GMU, Manhattan, GW, Illinois Chicago, and Towson. Keith McKnight is a 6'5" shooting guard out of Hudson Catholic of the PSA Cardinals AAU. Top 100 prospect according to Rivals. Number 2 recruit in New Jersey according to On3. Was invited to the Pangos All-American Camp where he stood out. Guard has ability to hold his own on the wing. Was able to get to the boards and as well. Athletic, he can also hit the 3. How about this? 4-star on Rivals, 3-star ESPN, 3-star on On3. Offers from Manhattan, RMU, St. Bonaventure, St. Francis, Charleston, NJIT, and Fairfield. John Barton, 6'4" shooting guard, small forward out of St. John's College High School in D.C. He is a southpaw, 2-way player, does all little things that a team needs to win. Great jumper, can guard 1 through 3, even 1 through 4 on occasion. Offers from NJIT, Towson, Fordham, and Radford. Pat Girton is a 6'2" combo guard out of Glen Elg Country School in Maryland and has played for Team Mello and top tier basketball. He's just a tough kid, two-way guard, plays through contact, can really shoot it, would really thrive into open system. He actually visited Iona not too long ago. Offers from Binghamton, Wagner, Bucknell, Loyola of Maryland, American, Mount St. Mary's, and Bryant. Alex Wilkins is a 6'5" combo guard out of the Brooks School in Massachusetts and Middlesex Magic. We have a great connection with them. Primarily a point guard, but can play on the wing as well. Last season averaged almost 19 a game, 2.5 assists a game, while shooting 91% from the line and 40% from three. Offers from UMass, Davidson, BU, Holy Cross, Chattanooga, Bryant, Miami of Ohio, Illinois, Chicago, Siena, Towson, UMBC, Northeastern, and Fairfield. Wrapping up with this is an older offer, but a name still in the mix for us. Omari Moore is a 6'3" guard from Hudson Catholic. She's a strong scorer and distributor. Actually visited us last summer, but according to a more recent recruiting article a couple of months back, he still says Tobin and staff still in contact, and Iona's still very much in the mix. Moore has offers from Yale, Harvard, UPenn, Fordham, ODU, Albany, and Lehigh. So keep an eye on that one as well. So that is quite a hefty list of 2025 recruits. Great job by the staff getting out there on the road and getting involved with some high level players, given all those stars that I listed along the way there. Curious to see who we actually land down the line. It'll be fun. What's also fun is my next guest. We're going to have Matt Murschel. He's from the Orlando Sentinel Tribune, college sports writer. He covers UCF. I covered UCF last year and covers them now. Had some great takes for us and on Comeh Emuobor. Of course, Comeh did not play a lot for UCF, but he had some great takeaways from when he was brought in and why he didn't play so much for UCF. So it's a great conversation, and we'll go to that now. Well, we are continuing our series of roster scouts, if you will, of all of the new Gales yet again. And this time around, we're going to take a look at Comeh Emuobor. And we're bringing in somebody who's seen him, got to see him play a little bit last year, Matt Murschel. He covers college sports for the Orlando Sentinel and Tribune. He's been there for 20 years. God bless. Matt, welcome to the podcast, and hope you can give us some great insights on Comeh.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I look forward to it. It's always a good to talk a little bit of college basketball in during the summer months when there's not a lot going on.
So Comeh came in pretty highly touted. He was a 3-star prospect, top 200 recruit in high school. He prepped at Brewster Academy, one of the top places to play. He was one of the top 20 prospects in New England at that time. Great athleticism, slasher, defensive stopper. Tell me about his recruitment from what you know of it from when he landed at UCF. Again, with those kind of credentials, it must have been a pretty exciting moment when you guys got him and all that. But just from what you recall from his recruiting process.
Yeah, I know that the coaching staff was excited. I know Johnny Dawkins, the head coach, was excited to bring him aboard. I think they were looking for a guy who fit really well into the system that Johnny likes to have, and that was kind of he wants guys who are high energy, give a lot of effort, who could play multiple positions. Versatility is always something that Johnny likes to have on the roster. He wants guys who could maybe play different spots, who can defend in different spots, and he wanted someone with a little size and a guy who could really kind of maybe help out on the defensive end of the floor. That's something they really wanted to focus on. And I know he was a big addition to the class coming in. And when he got here, I know a lot of the players who were here, the roster had a change. They had 10 new players coming in. He was one of those new players. And so there's a lot of new faces. And I joked that first media day that y'all had to wear those name tags. Hello, my name is. Because they're basically introducing each other to each other. And a lot of the players who were there, some of the veterans talked about Comeh and mentioned the fact that he was a really good addition to the roster. He was exciting on the court, guy with lots of energy, like a motor that was always running. And I think that was something that the veterans kind of appreciated. So it was obviously they felt like was going to be a good fit. But in today's day and age, just this thing should change when it comes to the rosters and how players want to be fit in or integrate into the system.
Well, UCF was going, I mean, certainly Iona fans know about change, but going from Bettino to Tobin. But UCF is going through quite a big change as well when Comeh was coming on board. And like you said, between that and the portal and the needs that the roster needed, some things happened there that impacted why Comeh didn't really play a lot. He only played about 6 minutes a game during his freshman year for last year. So can you give us a little bit about some of the transition that UCF had to go through over the past few months?
Oh yeah, and I think because of making that move to the Big 12, they understood that this was going to be one of the toughest leagues in the country, and so I think when Johnny was out recruiting Comeh, I'm sure at the time it was they wanted to have a good mix of transfers and some high school guys, but when you're looking at the portal, you have to bring in guys that you feel like can help you win right away in the first year, so they went out and they brought in a lot of veterans. They brought in a guy like Shamari Allen, who was a fifth-year guard. They brought in an Omar Payne, who was a fifth-year forward. They really went with a lot of experience. They wanted guys who they felt like could really come off the bench. Marcellus Avery, DeMar Langford, guys that were maybe not ones and twos, so to speak, at some of the places, but guys who they felt like could really help contribute. And I think that's where Comeh kind of unfortunately fell, maybe not purposely, but maybe fell a little bit to the wayside a little bit because these veterans got a lot more playing time early on, and it was because once you got into that Big 12 schedule, you're facing number 3 Kansas, you're facing number 23 Oklahoma, you're facing a ranked team. It seemed like every other game, and I just think that Johnny got himself into about a 10-man rotation, 8 to 10-man rotation, and it involved a lot of these transfers. And I just think that in their mind, maybe they saw Comeh as a project that maybe in the next year or two that they could maybe develop into a type of player who could slide in there, but it just never materialized. And I just think he only played in 10 games last year. I think it was 2 of those were in the Big 12 games. But again, that's the hard part with this for in college basketball now. That's the hard part about recruiting high school players now is you bring them in and you'd love to give them those opportunities, and you do get them a little opportunity early on in non-conference play, but when you get to the conference play, it just changes. Unless you get injuries and things like that, you're going to have guys. The transfers are probably going to see the majority of the minutes on the floor.
Yeah, and we're seeing it too, even in our level for sure. How many players did UCF lose this past season in addition to Comeh?
Oh, they lost. In addition to him, it was total 12 players. They lost 12 players, which was, again, some of these they knew they were going to lose.
Yeah.
Some of these are guys that maybe decided that hey, there's better opportunities out there. Whether it's more playing time, whether it's NIL opportunities. I mean, I just think guys. This is incredible what the transfer portal and NIL has done to the sport of basketball. I mean, how you can flip a roster so quickly, and that's what Johnny's had to do. And so they brought in 10 new players for this new coming class, including a couple freshmen. One of those freshmen was a guy who actually reclassified from the 2025 class to 2024 so he could play. But the majority of these guys are transfers. Again, they're guys who came from other programs who they feel like are going to be able to help them out immediately. So 12 guys was a lot. When you see guys go in the portal like that, it's got to be disheartening for a fan, but you just realize eventually that's just kind of the way that this sport is going to evolve over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. We've had some debates about that on the Iona message board of all places, talking about that very thing. When you have that kind of turnover, people like to grow attached to certain players. Watching a guy develop for 4 years is not going to happen anymore. And there are some fans who've kind of said, if this is what college basketball is going to be, I don't even want to watch it anymore. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it makes a very good point. I wrote a piece actually for the paper this morning that Darius Johnson, who's UCF's point guard, he's going into his 4th year. That's like a unicorn in college sports anymore. You stay somewhere for 4 years, and he's a big kind of piece of what they want to do this next year. And to get guys to stay that long, to have that, where a fan can have familiarity. I mean, you think back. I mean, I know college sports doesn't as much, but people used to go out, fans would go out and buy jerseys of their favorite team and they'd get their names of the favorite player on it, much like you do in the NBA. But, I mean, you almost can't do that now in the college level because it's just guys are probably not going to stick around there. Now, whether it's, you get some guys who'll stay 2 or 3 years and then decide maybe I'm going to leave for the 4th or 5th year because, it's a business decision. I got to go somewhere and try to have the best opportunity to win now or, try to have the best opportunity to get to the next level. So that's where I think you see some of these guys leave. And I think for others, it's just about, you want an opportunity. You like the coach. Jalen Sellers is a guy that came in last year from Ball State. He was a transfer. He was 2nd or 3rd in the Big 12 in scoring last year. He probably more likely could have left, gone, transferred somewhere else, felt like he maybe had a better opportunity. He likes Johnny Dawkins. So he said in the post game, I'm gonna stay here. I like Johnny. So he's another big piece that they have coming back. So it's tough. It's tough to keep those guys around. It's tough to keep a core unit around. Most transfers that are brought into schools, at least brought on rosters right now, are 1 year, one and done type guys, been there for the 5th year or so. So it's hard to really get attached to those guys. And when you get a freshman, that's always my question to a coach. When you get a freshman is, okay, you brought this guy in. Now, how long do you think you're going to have him? I mean, because again, you bring in a lot of freshmen and you see these guys want to play immediately, and then they're going to go somewhere else, and they realize it's not maybe for them. So it's tough for coaches because I know in Johnny's case, he doesn't just want to get transfers. He wants to have a good balance, bring in a few high schools, bring in some transfers. He wants to develop some players. It's just tough in today's day and age to do that.
Yeah, no question. And we're seeing it at our level too. We brought in several freshmen last season. The better ones transferred out, I won't say way higher, but maybe a tick higher. And the ones who didn't play because they were just young or whatever are transferred to a lower level. And they're, and we're going to, so the way I know Tobin is the way he's recruiting has changed because he's now trying to tell these kids, hey, don't, if you have a great freshman year, don't leave after 1 year, try to stay here 2 years and get a bigger bag somewhere else. Don't leave for a little bit better spot than Iona. Make a big jump if you're going to leave us, So that's I think that's been like the pitch to the younger guys that they've been recruiting. And I'm curious, and even somebody like Comeh now comes in. What if Comeh comes in and has a great year as what would be a sophomore year for us? Maybe he averages like 10 and 5 and says, maybe I can go play at a higher level, and that's is what we're up against now. And I hope Comeh does come in and average 10 and 5, but at the same time, I hope he doesn't because then he's going to transfer out maybe. So it's tough because you have to recruit, you're trying to recruit kids, you're not going to get them to stay 4 years anymore, but maybe you can get 2 years out of them. And that's what you hope for at this point.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that's what a lot of coaches are saying. It's like, listen, we want to develop, the younger guys. We want to make sure they understand what's going on. And in some ways, and I wrote this a couple of years ago, that the people who are always denouncing the transfer portal, I said, listen, I think the transfer portal in some ways has helped college basketball because the one and done situation that we were experiencing, I don't think you're seeing that anymore. I think you're seeing a lot of guys who are coming into college who are staying longer because of transfer portal, because of NIL. I think they know that there's better opportunities there, to work on for 2 or 3 years and maybe make some money and then go, to the next level, go to the NBA. And I think that's helped out a lot, but it's tough. It's tough to get fans to really kind of, they fall in love with a team and they go, this is great. And then all of a sudden, you're, like I mentioned, 9 or 10 guys leave and it's just like, okay, well, your whole team's going to be, it's a new team. And it almost feels like every year as a coach, you're going to have to kind of build, do something different. And I remember asking Johnny, who's a veteran coach, does your plan change every year when it comes to the portal? Do you try to bring in different guys to, or do you try to fit your offense around different guys? And he said, the plan doesn't really change for him. It's about getting guys that, he feels like not only fit the system, but are good chemistry guys, because that's the biggest thing. Talk to any coach now in any college sport, and they'll tell you the biggest thing that they're working on in the offseason is chemistry, is building chemistry. Yep. Because when you bring in so many new guys, how do you get them all to work together? Right. Because it's tough to do that. And I know last year for UCF, in the beginning of the year, they had so many new guys. You saw things where there are moments when, you had like 5 guys on the floor and all 5 guys wanted the ball to make a play or make a shot. And it's like, you can't do that. You got to work as a team. And I think that's going to be the tough thing that programs are finding out is making sure you get the right guy that fits, not just going out and getting guys who are going to come in and, just fill a spot. You need to make sure that they all work together and your team just isn't a bunch of personalities that need to get that team mentality.
Yeah, and in a situation like this with Comeh, we there's no way to know because he didn't get a chance to show what he can do because of everything we just talked about. The fact is he's still that kid that was a top 200 recruit in high school. Do we see that transition now for him, and do we see him getting that opportunity? Certainly getting a lower level than UCF was playing at. Does he flourish, or was he really not? Did he really deserve to not play at UCF, and is he not that great? Those are the things that nobody can know. But like you said, at some point you have to just take a chance on a kid, but also you're looking for somebody to fit your system, to fit what you're trying to build in terms of a culture, and hopefully Comeh will fit that for us. So Matt, thank you very much for taking time on. We went into a little bit of a tangent there on portal stuff, but it's important, and it's been a hot topic for, nationally for college hoops, and even at Iona, which had 13 guys they had to bring in this year. So it happens, and it might be the new norm. We'll find out. Maybe we'll get somebody else from UCF. We'll talk to you again next year.
You never know. That's going to happen. Yeah. I will say this to finish this off. I thought just dealing with Comeh, the opportunities I had, I thought he was an exciting young man. Like a guy that was, like I said, really, really energetic, really, really, had a lot of positivity, and was, at least in my experience, was great with the media. So, I think that will carry over hopefully to you guys, and you'll get the chance to experience that yourself.
Yeah, and Tobin made a point. One thing we had last year, we got guys who on paper looked good. We were picked second in the MAC despite having to replace the whole roster, and it just didn't work because he got a different kind of mix of guys, and he basically wanted us to go out and get tougher. And everybody we brought in every recruit he's coming out. I said, "What's this kid like?" "Oh, he's tough. He's a tough kid." and I get the feeling that Comey's kind of that way too. And when you get a kid who has defense on his mind 24/7, that's to me is a true sign of toughness. So I do think he's going to be a great fit for us. I'm excited to see him out there. So Matt, thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about Comeh and about portal and everything else. And we'll catch up again down the line with you.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks again to Matt Murschel for joining us on the podcast. Hey guys, it's recruiting season's in full swing. We're still previewing some of the Gales who are joining us next season, and the season is here very, very soon. Stick around. It's fun around here. Go Gales.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the IonaHoops.com podcast. This podcast is a production of IonaHoops.com with publisher Guy Filatico. The opinions shared during this podcast are those of Guy Filatico, IonaHoops.com, and any featured guests. This podcast is not affiliated with Iona University Athletics or the university itself. Thank you for supporting IonaHoops.com.